again for this FIBA Africa conferences dedicated to women coaches and future women coaches. As you have seen yesterday, the conference is interactive as possible. So do not hesitate to raise your hand. We will give you the floor and you will be able to activate your microphone and your camera to ask a question or only share an experience. Coach Naufal Wariashi, it was a pleasure yesterday, and thanks a lot for your support in our activities. Thanks again for yesterday, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mikey. And what a pleasure to be here again with our wonderful coaches, our wonderful female coaches from Africa, and hopefully from other parts of the world. And it really is a pleasure for me to be here once again in this wonderful program by FIBA Africa. But I hope that in the near future, we'll have many more women sitting here where I am sitting today, giving us and sharing experiences and hopefully boosting women's basketball in Africa. I am here today to talk to you about a particular topic, a topic that is very dear to me, that is very important. It's all about modern basketball. It's all about coaching basketball in a modern way. But if you're not ready to ask questions, then I'd like you to be ready to ask questions. This is an opportunity for us to exchange. It's an opportunity for us to learn from one another. I am learning myself all the time. And obviously, any coach that stops learning is a dead coach. Right? We all have to understand that. If you stop learning, you're gone. You're a dead coach. That's it. So as coaches, we all have to be ready to debate, to participate, and ask questions. And believe me, no question has less value than other questions. All questions are important. Why? Because we come from lots of different cultures. We come from lots of different environments. We have different ways and different resources. And therefore, my question might be, pertinent and important to me, and it might be different than someone else who is practicing maybe with one basketball and a court with no baskets, etc. So let's ask these questions. Let's be ready to ask these questions. Okay? So I'm talking to you. Yes, you, all of you. I'm talking to you. I want you to be ready to participate in today's conference, and I want you to ask questions. All right? I am going to start sharing my screen. So here we go. And the topic for today is coaching on the run. But again, like yesterday, before we start, please get a pen and paper or anything that you can write with, because I'd like you to write down the questions. You know how sometimes throughout the talk or throughout the conference, you may think of a question, just write it down. So at the end of the presentation, we will have a chance to debate and talk, and also even share experiences. It doesn't have to be a question. It could be something that you share. So coaching on the run. Before we get started, I would like to ask you a very important question, which is the following. So, what have you done today to become a better basketball coach? What did you do today? I would like you to take 2 words, 3 words, just write them down in the message, please. Go ahead, start typing. Tell me, what have you done today to become a better basketball coach? Let's see, I'm expecting answers. Did you read a book? Did you watch a video? Did you talk to another coach? Did you listen to a coach speak or talk? What have you done today? I see some people have already have already written a few things. Some people are saying that they've attended a conference. That's fantastic. Give me more, please. Watch some YouTube videos and learn some drills. Very good, Fatuma. Thank you. What else? I came to the meeting on time. I love it. Nima, fantastic. Great. So I guess being on time is very important for Nima's philosophy. Speaking to my players, great job, Francisca. Let's go. I want more people to write. Think about new ideas. Fantastic, Veronica. Always thinking as a coach, you're always thinking. Okay, so we're going to move on with our lesson today, but thank you very much for participating and answering. So let's start talking about a proficient coach. Now, one of you just now said, I was watching some YouTube videos and was learning some drills. That's fantastic. That is one area that makes you a better coach. That's for sure. One area that makes you a better coach. But there are many other areas that make us better coaches. And this is something that we are going to discuss now. What is a proficient coach? So let's see what a proficient coach is. There are three major areas that a coach needs to master in order to become proficient. Three major areas. Let's discover which areas these are. So we have an area where we know and we have to learn how to teach individual skills. This is an area that I need to know how to teach one player, for example, how to play defensive footwork, how to dribble the ball, how to pass, how to rebound, how to shoot. These are individual drills for the players. So this is one major area. Let's go to the next one. There is a team concept area. That is where we teach two or more players how to do an activity. Pass and cut, replace the cutter, help defense. These are team concepts. So please understand that these individual skills and team concept, these two areas are content. They're content areas. Many of us coaches, all we care about are these two areas, individual skills and team concepts. In fact, when you go around and talk to other coaches, most of the time you're talking about, oh, look at this drill. Look at this shooting drill. Look at this warm-up drill. These things are fantastic, but this is still content. Now, do you know how to teach these skills? You know how the drill works, but do you know how to teach this skill? Do you know how to teach this skill to a very experienced player? Or do you know how to teach this skill to a beginner, a player who just started playing basketball? Do you know how to teach this skill to someone who can only dribble with the right hand, where you're trying to teach them how you use their left hand? So that's what brings us to the third area, which is what I call vital practices. How do you communicate? Do you include everyone? Do you plan your practices? Do you plan your season? Are you teaching? Do you really teach? Because many of us confuse teaching. We think teaching is just us talking. Right now, I am teaching. I think I am teaching. But if you're not learning, I am not teaching. If you're learning nothing from what I'm saying, I am not teaching. The teaching does not happen. Do you have a presence on the court? When you're on the court, are you present? Huh? Can you manage different situations? Can you manage groups of players? Can you manage time? Can you manage resources? Are you a leader? Huh? So these three areas will make you a better coach. And if you take every day a little bit of time to improve in one of these areas, you will definitely be a better coach. If today you're going to watch a video, a YouTube video, and you are going to learn a new, for example, passing drill, that's fantastic. But remember yesterday when we talked about have your own style? So when you see that passing drill, that is one particular coach with one set of players that probably know the drill, etc. How are you going to teach that same drill and be as efficient to a group of new players for the first time? So you're going to have to use your communication tools. You're going to have to use your teaching skills, your management ability. You're going to have to plan ahead. So when you work today, so when you are trying to become a better coach, give a bit of time and a bit of importance to these practices, to the way we communicate, the way we teach, etc. Am I okay? All right. You girls following me? Or are you just hiding? Huh? I can see you all. Let's move on. Let's read this. Let's read it and see if it makes sense to us. It's a little bit long, and let's make sure we understand it. So the part that says vital practices as an important practices, that is an important area that a coach must absolutely master in order to efficiently deliver the basketball content. So we have two basketball content areas: individual skills, team aspects. Okay? And these two different types of contents, they need to be delivered. So we need a vehicle to deliver these to the players in an efficient way. So by offering both adequate and appropriate instructional and evaluation practices that are differentiated to meet the specific needs of each player, the coach establishes a positive culture for learning. This is coaching basketball for you girls. This is coaching basketball for you. If you understand this text, you understand what coaching basketball is all about. You need to be efficient in delivering the content. You have to have adequate and appropriate instructional practices. The way you teach has to be appropriate according to the age, adequate according to the activity, according to the ability of your player, according to the experience of your player, according to the resources that you have available. And at the same time, you need to be able to evaluate, to measure the success. You need to have some indicators that tell you that I know that we have achieved whatever we needed to get to. And these practices are differentiated. Why differentiated? Because we have different levels in our groups. Your team might have 5 different levels, might have 2 different levels. Especially in the younger categories, you have players who are 12 years old that have been playing basketball for 6 years, 7 years, and you have players who are 12 years old that have been playing basketball for 6 minutes. They just showed up. So you need to be able to differentiate. And by doing all this, you are being inclusive. You are being positive. You are creating a positive energy, a fantastic culture for learning. And everyone will want to come and be with you. I hope we all understand this text here, because it goes deep into the teaching part of basketball. And let's see some examples of these vital practices. You got to be a communicator. Are you clear in the way you talk? Are you audible? Do you listen more? Sometimes we like to talk too much, as coaches. We forget ourselves and we think we're a commentator on TV. Are you positive? Do you encourage? Are you concise? You got to be inclusive. Differentiate. You have to be patient. You have to be able to manage time, players, in groups. For example, do I group my players when I have a group activity? Do I group my players according to age, according to size, according to ability, according to positions? Do we really need to have positions when we playing with young categories? How many basketballs do I have? Do I have 20 basketballs or do I have 2 basketballs? How many hoops do I have? Am I a role model? Am I positive? Am I someone that uses appropriate language? Am I someone that is passionate and fair? Am I someone that is honest with my work? And that is on and off the court. As I said to you earlier, presence. Do I have energy when I come into the court? Do I come in with energy or do I come in with, oh, leave me alone today, girls. I don't want to, No. The kids, the players, they need that energy from the coach. Do I smile? There's a big difference between smiling and coming with a long face. Don't talk to me today. I haven't had my coffee yet. Are you in charge? Are you enthusiastic? Do you really want things to happen? Do you want teaching to happen? And this is extremely important in a coach. Are you organized? Did you plan? Or did you just show up like that? Did you plan? Did you think about what you are going to practice, what you're going to show today? Are you ready to change and be flexible because of and adapt to circumstances? And one other part, do you teach? Are you really a teacher? As I said to you earlier, teaching is not one way, it's a two-way affair. Teaching and learning. If learning does not happen, teaching does not happen either. I repeat, if learning does not happen, teaching does not happen either. So as a coach, many times you go like, well, I told you many times, I told you many times. And she still doesn't do it. So is that her problem or your problem? I'm sorry, it's your problem. You're the coach. You have to find ways, skills to teach properly so that player learns. Do you give feedback? Do you correct? How do you give feedback? Teaching is when the behavior changes. For example, if you teach me how to dribble the basketball and I dribble it like this, and you say, soft, soft, and you're patient with me, etc., and all of a sudden I start dribbling and we're caressing the ball and all that, I changed my behavior. I changed the way I did it. That means I learned. And if I learned, that means teaching took place. Do you use cue words? Huh? Like very specific words that would remind me what to do. And that's something we'll get back to. So, but some of the vital practices are being a good communicator, being inclusive, being a good manager, a good role model, being present all the time, organized and teaching, always ready to teach. There are many others that we're not necessarily mentioning today. But let's concentrate in one particular aspect of these vital practices. Let's go on the teacher part. And we are going to concentrate on 2 words today, and that's today's lesson. There are 2 words: feedback and cue words. And we'll understand what these mean just now. Feedback obviously is when you are correcting the player, or you're basically just saying that they're doing a good job. They're on the right path. And cue words are specific words that will remind the player of what she needs to do, what she needs to correct. Very specific words. So that gets us to today's topic, coaching on the run. What is coaching on the run? What is coaching on the run? You know, some of us who might hear this term for the first time, we think, oh, I'm coaching and running at the same time, or I'm running with the players, or, I'm actually playing with the players. No, that's not what it is. Coaching on the run is basically an expression. It's a technique. Let's take some time to read. Okay, coaching on the run is a technique used by coaches to give feedback to the players using cue words without stopping the activity. Okay, let's go back a couple of years, since many of you are still young and you have just started coaching, and even though you've been coaching for quite some time, you are young and you've been playing quite a bit. You remember that coach that came and she told you her life story? Wow, was that an efficient practice session, or was that a boring practice session? Because if I come to you as a coach and I tell you my story, oh, you remember when I used to play, I used to do this, or I used to do that. The first time, it might be interesting, but if I tell you 7 times, that's just like, forget. I mean, it's boring. So let's say I say, everyone start dribbling. And then I see that little Sarah over there, instead of dribbling, she's slapping the ball. I should not stop the whole activity and say, everyone stop, line up. This is how we do it. That would not make sense if it's only Sarah who is not doing it right. So when everyone is dribbling, I can move around and come close to Sarah and use some cue words that I have already used before to remind Sarah how to dribble the ball. Soft, soft. I might use a cue word of soft, or palm the ball. So coaching on the run is a fabulous technique that we give feedback, that we are basically teaching. We're changing behavior without stopping the activity. We don't stop the activity. Let's move on. Why do we use coaching on the run? Why? Well, because feedback is important. Whenever we're correcting things, we are helping players learn. We are teaching. Because research shows the best learning happens when the kids are doing. Not when they're stopping and listening, and with young kids, bring a bunch of 10-year-olds or 12-year-olds or even 14-year-olds and make them line up and tell them, stop, don't move, listen to me. And you talk to them for 20 minutes, you think they're going to pay attention? No way. They won't pay attention. So you want them to be doing things. You want them to be repeating the actual drill or the action or the activity. And as they repeat it, they become used to it. And one day, as they repeating it, you are giving them feedback. So feedback plus repetition, feedback plus repetition equals learning. That means that they are learning something. They are changing behavior. They are learning something new. They're becoming better. And if learning happens, that means that teaching is happening. So this is a beautiful equation that is important to use in many different aspects, and of course in basketball coaching as well. How does feedback happen? Feedback needs to be timely. So let's say a drill. You see that Sarah did not bend her knees when she was dribbling. If you don't tell Sarah at that particular time, and you tell her after practice, Sarah might not know what you're talking about. So it needs to be timely. So as the activity is happening, you don't stop the activity. You go to Sarah and you use a cue word at that particular time, a cue word that she will correct. You'll give her feedback that she will correct her action. So feedback needs to be timely. It needs to be actionable, meaning it needs to be a way that I need to change something, and action has to happen. Let me remind you another thing that happens a lot. Here it is. What are you doing? What are you doing? How many times have you heard the coach say that? Sarah, what is this? Sarah, why did you do that? Don't tell players what they did wrong. Tell them what they need to do. You don't need to tell them that they did that wrong. Tell them what they need to do. Tell them how to correct it. So don't say, Sarah, don't bend you, don't look at the ball. You can say, Sarah, head up, head up. So your feedback needs to be actionable. Your feedback also, as we said, it needs to be specific, clear. What do I need to do? We all have the problem. Again, we've had it. You know, the coach starts yelling and talking too much. And we don't know. I don't know what I need to do. As a player, especially a young player, especially someone who is just started. I don't know what I need to do. And feedback needs to be understandable. I need to understand. And I need to understand what you're telling me. What do I need to do? So specific and understandable. We can use keywords to deliver that message. These are very simple words that we have prepared ahead of time, that we've gotten and we've developed, that we'll be using during practice. So let's go to some keywords examples. Now, these keywords, they can vary. Of course, if you are someone that uses a different language to coach, you're probably going to use your own language, or you're going to use a language that your players understand. That's number one. Number two, you might use specific words that are appropriate to you, that everyone understands. You don't have to absolutely stick to these words, but these are just some examples. For example, let's say I'm insisting on the players bending their knees while they're dribbling. I don't need to say, Sarah, bend your knees while you're dribbling. Again and again and again. I can just say, hey, Sarah, knees. Sometimes I can just look at her and say knees. So I don't bother everyone else. I don't bother the activity. Shooting, arc the ball. I can just use the word arc. Good job, Sarah. Good job. Arc, Sarah, arc. If I want to change the speed when I'm trying to get open, and someone, you know how many times the players, they need to learn and they need to develop how to change speed. I can just use the word speed. Keep your feet away while playing defense. I'll say feet. Keep them apart. As you close out, if you want both arms up, say arms. Sometimes you may teach that only one arm up and one arm defending the ball. When you're ready to catch the ball, you can use the word target. These are just some examples. And as I said earlier, it's very important that you develop your own language. Develop your own language. It could be something that you use all the time, but don't change it. In the beginning of the season, have your set of keywords. And these keywords, use them all the time and repeat them all the time. So this means that you have a bit of work to do as a coach. But once you do it and you work on it, it becomes throughout your life. You use it all the time as a coach. Let's go and take a look at an activity example. So let's look at this practice activity. So I was preparing my activity, and in this 10 minutes, I'm going to teach, I'm going to work on getting open after an off-ball screen. So we have players here with a ball. Player 5 and player 3 are with a ball. Player 4 is ready to go and set a screen to get number 1 and number 2 eventually open. So number 1 is going to come this way, run, change speed, catch the ball, and shoot. So players will use the screen to get open, receive the ball, and shoot. With this activity, I have some teaching points. In this case, the teaching point is change speed. And the keyword that I will be using is speed. As I am getting open via the screen, I want to touch shoulders or rub shoulders. And the keyword is shoulder. So these are the two main teaching points for my team. Change speed and touch shoulders and rub shoulders. Simply because it's something that I feel that my team needs to improve. But as you can see in this particular drill, there are many other teaching points that I can concentrate on, that I can focus on. For example, I can focus on fake catching the ball here. I can focus on, once you get the ball, look at the basket. I can focus on changing direction. I can focus on passing the ball to the chest. But for today, for this activity, on this practice day, I am only concentrating on these two teaching points: change speed and rub shoulders. One common mistake that many of us coaches make, because we forget, or maybe we did not plan the activity properly, is that we forget about these teaching points and we start telling number 5, number 3, or the passer here, to give a better pass because they give a pass away from the chest, or they give a pass down to the knee, etc. And we start concentrating on the pass. While in my preparation, I did not talk about the pass. If that is the case, if I realize that my team does not pass the ball very well, then I write at the end of practice in my notes, I could write down, must work on passing. But because of today's activity, I prepared it, I worked on it, I need to make sure that I stick to it. Now let's go to this here. It says, Sarah, target. So now this is differentiation. Only for Sarah, because maybe she needs to work a little bit on catching the ball and keeping her hands open. I put a reminder here for myself that whenever Sarah is ready to move, I'm going to remind her to open her hands and ask for the ball, to show target. So I'm going to say, Sarah, target. So maybe I can stand at the baseline here, and as soon as Sarah is about to ready to go, I'll say, Sarah, don't forget, target. So I am differentiated. I am basically also helping another player get up to the team's level. And as you can see, this needs preparation. And as I'm doing these activities, I'm giving feedback. I'm using keywords to give feedback. And at the end of practice, I evaluate my activity and I see where my players are. How much learning has been done and what stage of learning are they in? And that's another topic, obviously, which is the learning stages that, obviously when we're introducing a new skill, we have different learning stages that we follow. This happens only and is only possible if I take my time to prepare my practices. And as this drill is happening, as this activity is happening, in the first minute or two, obviously in the first 30 seconds, I give my instructions and the players, they start moving. In the first minute or two, my recommendation, my personal recommendation would be to stand in the corner and watch. That is called listening in basketball coaching. You are watching what's happening. And if the majority of players don't get it, you realize that maybe your instructions were not clear and you can stop the activity. Or if only one or two players are not getting it right, then you go next to them and start using those cue words to remind them of what they need to do. Don't imitate that old coach you had that was commentating every single activity or every single pass. Great pass, Johnny. Nice shot, Sarah. Great move, Maria. All the time. That's not efficient because that becomes noise to the ears of the players. The players need to hear concise, precise instructions, proper feedback, timely one, actionable one, understandable one that they can actually improve and do some learning. So coaching on the run is one part or one skill that we use when we are teaching. And it helps us give feedback to the players without stopping the activity and making sure that there is some continuity in our practice. After all, most of us here who have practices, we don't have 3 hours to practice. Most of us have about an hour and 15 minutes, maybe an hour. Those of us who are lucky might have an hour and a half or even 2 hours, but not much more. Therefore, you need to prepare your activities that they are efficient, that they are timely, and coaching on the run helps you a lot with achieving this goal of making sure that there is continuity in your practices. Okay, this is it. This is today's lesson. Any questions? I'm going to stop the share here. And I am going to remind everyone that you may be able to ask questions, right, Mikey? They can type them or they can raise their hands, correct?
Yes, exactly, coach. We already have someone who wants to talk, Aline. So please, Aline, go ahead. You can activate your microphone and your camera if you want.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Thank you for the lesson of today. I would like to ask about individual skills.
Aline, sorry to interrupt you. Just can you present you before?
Sure.
And then go ahead, please.
I was saying that my question is about individual skills. So if a player, mostly kids, looks stronger in a single skill, let's say like dribbling with one hand, either right or left, as a coach, is it better to let the kid focus on that at a time, or I should encourage a kid to try another hand? Thank you.
You're very welcome, Ali. Thank you very much for your question. What's important is that you understand at what stage that player is in. What learning stage is he in?
Yeah.
That is some. Is he a pure beginner? Did he master that particular activity? That's number one. Number two, is this a new player that needs to have confidence? So sometimes you want players to be successful and you want them to be confident. Yes, they might not be ready for left-hand dribbling, and they can only dribble with the right hand, and still with the right hand they're not doing it well. That is fine. Let them become comfortable. Let them feel positive about whatever they're doing. Let them develop a trust and confidence towards you as a coach.
Okay.
And then slowly, through feedback, appropriate feedback and cue words, you can teach them to move on to the next level, which is dribbling with their weak hand. So it all depends on where the player is. If this player has been with you for quite some time and you have developed a communication and relationship together, then you can by all means start identifying at what learning stage she is in, and then make sure that they are ready to dribble with their weak hand. Thank you very much, Ali.
Thank you. Thank you.
Aline, sorry, can you please let us know where do you come from?
I'm from Rwanda.
Okay, perfect. Okay, thank you, Aline. Coach, we have Fiona. She wants to ask something. So Fiona, please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Coach, for a wonderful session. I've really enjoyed your teaching so far. So my question is a little on the side. You know, what we have been, what we learned, and what I want to ask is a little different. But I thought maybe this is the time to ask such a question. You know, if you have been a player for a long time and you feel it is now time to be a coach, how do you get your fellow players to listen to you and, you know, to have confidence in your teaching? Thank you very much.
My pleasure, Fiona. Well, a pleasure to have you, and thank you very much for this question, Fiona. That is a question, and it's a problem for many players who become coaches. It really is. It's a real question for all of us who have played basketball, and all of a sudden we become coaches. We were joking with with Veronica yesterday, and today I'm telling her to listen and pay attention, and it's a little bit challenging. So my hope, obviously, is that when you are playing and you start coaching, at least that you start coaching with the younger categories. That would be a more natural and a productive way to move into coaching. Obviously, you don't stop coaching the seniors and your first experience is with the seniors, because I don't think that it's impossible to do, but it's not an ideal way. I feel every coach needs to start with the younger categories in order to build a solid foundation. However, there are circumstances that sometimes we might need coaches, and we would like you to become a coach as soon as possible. So my strongest recommendation, and if everyone here is listening, and I hope that many of you are still playing, my strongest recommendation is please get a job with your team, with your club, volunteer in your neighborhood, and start coaching. Even though you're still playing, start coaching the younger categories. This way you are building a solid foundation. So when you become a senior coach, that means that a coach of senior players, that means that you've had enough experiences and you've made enough mistakes that you are becoming a mature coach. Now, to go back to your specific question, Fiona, it's all about honest conversations, and it's all about respect. It takes a bit of time for you to become a coach, to shift, to change from being a player to becoming a coach. And it takes a bit of time for your teammates to accept you as a coach and think of you of Coach Mukukula instead of Fiona. So that comes in a gradual way. And you use your own personality to do that. Most of the time, going in a confrontational way is not the right way to work. But many times, honest conversations. For example, you may get to Veronica, who is your teammate, and she's the one that is maybe not listening or maybe not doing the right thing, etc., and just say, hey, Veronica, this is the situation. I am now a coach. I want to be successful. I want you to help me become successful. At the same time, you can say to Veronica, who's your teammate, what can I do to help you become a better player? So when you establish this type of conversation, you are establishing a care. You are establishing a way that you're telling that other player that you really care about them. And hopefully that will help with this situation and will help with the transition. But patience is the key aspect here. You got to be patient. It takes a bit of time, and it will eventually happen. Thank you, Fiona. And Mikey, I don't know where Fiona was from. We didn't ask her.
Exactly, that's why. Fiona, can you please precise where do you come
Okay,
from?
I'm from Zimbabwe.
Perfect, okay.
Thank you very much for your response.
My pleasure, Fiona. Mikey, can I read some questions that are on the messages, and then we can go to Nima?
For sure, Coach, yeah.
I will go ahead and read a question from Hajar. You said the continuous feedback might be noise to the ears, but it's encouraging the players and keeps the dynamic high, isn't it? Great question, Hajar. Very, very, very good question. Yes, you know, I have to tell you, I am one of the biggest, I made this mistake so many times as a young coach. I was big time encouraging the whole time, during the whole practice. You came to my practice, it was a show, but it was all about encouraging. There was very little teaching. I was saying, Hajar, go on. Yes, good job, Red. You know, I was yelling the whole time. So I created a good atmosphere at practice, but I am not sure I was teaching. So continuous feedback is indeed noise because the player can't hear you anymore, cannot understand you anymore. The player does enjoy to be encouraged. And we need to encourage players. But if the player needs feedback, needs to be corrected, then it's important for us to be concise and precise and timely. I hope I answered your question, Hajar. Can you tell us where you're from, Hajar? Can you type it, please?
Yes,
I have
Coach.
another question
Exact.
from Munyaneza. Someone asked. Hajar is from Morocco.
Okay.
Hi, Hajar. Me too. I want to ask how many times. Can I give an example? Jocelyn from Rwanda. Jocelyn from Rwanda is asking how much time or minutes that you may give to an exercise so the players can't get bored. Jocelyn, sometimes 3-4 minutes is too little of a time. 15 minutes is too much. I try to keep my activities between 8 to 10 minutes. Usually it's adequate. You can have a little bit longer with maybe older players, depending on what the need is. It can be a little bit shorter with other players. But the most important thing is you need to understand that teaching needs to happen. That means learning needs to happen during the activity. So if learning is happening, then it's great. And if you can limit it to about 8 to 10 minutes, that will be an adequate time. 12 minutes will be okay. Anything beyond 12 might be a little bit too much, in my opinion. Thank you, Jocelyn. You go ahead, Mikey, please.
Yes,
Jocelyn has a question.
Jocelyn,
if you want to talk, go ahead. No problem.
Okay, I'm saying that thank you for your response. I already understand.
My pleasure, Jocelyn.
My pleasure too.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Coach, we have Neema. She wants to talk. Oh, I think we have an issue with the connection. I do not see him again.
Okay.
So let me check if we have another.
We have a question in French.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm Neema from Tanzania.
Hi,
Thanks
Neema.
for the question. Hi. My question is, how can you help a player who you keep giving them feedback every time and they feel like you are being harsh to them?
Very good. Well, my immediate answer is by not being harsh. Don't be harsh. Be as specific and as concise as possible. But also, if that player is not learning after several attempts, maybe you're giving them something to do that is too difficult for them. And maybe you as a coach have not identified at what learning stage that player is. I'll give you an example of a bicycle. When you are teaching someone to ride a bicycle, if you came to me and you say, I'm going to teach you how to ride a bicycle today, and all of a sudden you say to me, okay, I want you to ride from point A to point B, I'm going to think you're crazy. Well, what do you mean? So that's going to be a little too much. And then you're going to get upset with me. Oh, how can you not do it? Look at your brother. He knows how to do it. But if you realize that I am an absolute beginner, I can't even stand on a bicycle, I don't even know how to use it, and you try to teach me at that level first, and you make sure that I master that particular part, then you move on to the next level. then eventually I'll get better. So my answer is, don't be harsh, be understanding, be patient, but also give them something that is adequate, that is appropriate. Make sure you realize at what learning stage they are in. Thank you very much, Nima, from Tanzania, I believe.
Thank you, Coach. Thank you, Naima, for your question too. Coach, I will.
Can I go ahead and answer Bintu?
Yeah, exactly.
Koulibaly?
Yeah, go ahead.
Bintu Koulibaly says in French, how can we understand those of us who speak French? I will answer in English. My immediate answer is, unfortunately, this is a conference in English. I believe my colleague, Coach Noor Amri, has done something similar in French, and I would recommend that you get on the YouTube channel that I believe Mikey or the IT team from FIBA Africa will be sharing with you, and will eventually, hopefully, you'll get to it. En français, bonjour Bintou. Mon collègue, le coach Amri, a déjà fait le même thème en français. Je crois qu'il y a l'enregistrement sur YouTube. Je crois que l'équipe de IT de FIBA Africa devrait partager le lien avec vous. Et comme ça vous donnera un peu une vision sur ce thème d'aujourd'hui. Merci bien, Bintou. Prière de nous préciser d'où vous venez, s'il vous plaît.
Coach, j'écris juste dans le chat mon adresse mail pour Bintou. Comme ça, elle pourra me contacter et je lui enverrai les conférences en français.
Fantastique.
Désolé, mais cette conférence aujourd'hui, c'est réservé à un public anglophone.
All right. So we have a question from Zinab.
Yeah. Zinab.
Yes, hello.
Hi, Zinab.
Hello, Mr. Nufel. Thank you so much for your presentation.
My pleasure.
So my question is about the contact, the physical contact. So basically, the basketball is a game of no contact, but I mean the physical contact. But in my experience, in the majority of the matches I manage, they end by a fight. The girls, they fight each other. There is a lot of contact, so I don't know really how to deal with this problem and how to solve it. I repeat all the time that we should not touch the other players, the basketball. We have no contact, etc. But in matches, it's a mess.
Yes, it's a mess.
Yes.
Zina, where are you from?
I'm from Morocco, and I'm typically from Sidi Ifni.
All right, fantastic. Welcome, Zina.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. So here's an immediate answer for you, Zina.
Yeah.
You have to do this during practice. During practices, when you're playing games, you have to call the fouls that happen, because obviously if they are being too physical, they are being too physical at practice as well. So you have to correct that during practices. And whenever an illegal contact happens, you have to say, Maria, that's a foul. We can't do that. Fatima, that's not where we set a screen. And you call those fouls. And as you are doing it during practices, you are helping them understand what is a legal contact and what is an illegal contact. So that will be my strongest recommendation, is that you do it during practice. And of course, during the game, if it happens and they commit a foul and the ref calls the foul, then it's a foul. And of course, as they commit more fouls and they are out of the game, they will also learn that particular contact is not allowed. So my strongest recommendation would be do it during practice.
Okay, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Zina. Thank you. Mikey, can I read a question from Fatuma?
Yes, but we forgot Saba Larif before.
Oh, thank you. Yes, Saba.
Yeah.
Where's Saba from? Saba, can you tell us where you're from? I'm giving feedbacks all the time, but my players think that I'm blaming them. How can I make them understand that this is not an encouraging for them? Very good, Saba. Okay, so if the players think that you are blaming them, I have to be honest with you. You have to change your way, Saba. Huh? You have to change your way, because that's what they understand. You know, sometimes it's not what I say, it's what you understand. That's what communication is from. Oh, Saba is from Morocco again. Fantastic. I am so impressed with Morocco and these coaches from Morocco with their English. I didn't realize we had so many people in Morocco that spoke English. Fantastic. Well, a pleasure. So my recommendation, Saba, is try to change the words that you are using, the tone that you are using. And remember, it's better to say, look up instead of don't look at the ball. Huh? You know, it's the same message, which is you don't want the players to be dribbling and looking at the ball. But when you say, head up, keep your head up, that's a good job, keep your head up, good. Huh? It's a lot different than saying, don't look at the ball. So changing your language, changing your tone. Sometimes use the sandwich method. The sandwich method is you give them a positive comment, positive feedback, constructive feedback, and another positive one. Huh? It can be anything positive, because we like to hear positive things many times. It can be like, oh, I like your hair today. Or I like your shoelaces today. I like the, you know, it can be that. Give them positive, constructive, and positive, and that might help a little bit with the way they understand. Thank you very much, Saba, for your question. I'll move to Fatuma, if you don't mind, Mikey.
Perfect. Nice. Yeah.
Fatuma is from Rwanda. Very good. You said research shows that the best learning happens when the kids are doing. But sometimes we coach too many kids and they're all making mistakes and they don't understand the drill. So we have to stop them and talk to them for a bit and show them the drill again so they understand better. Is that okay? Of course it is okay. So you have 20 players. Let's say you have 20 players. And you say to them, we are going to work on dribbling. So everyone start dribbling. So everyone starts dribbling and everyone is doing it well. Then all of a sudden you say, okay, everyone now start dribbling between your legs. So they start dribbling between their legs, and you realize that out of 20 players, 18 players can't do it. Only 2 players can do it, or 15 players can't do it properly. Then you have a problem. That is a drill that is not, that your players are not ready to do yet. So you have to decrease the intensity, the psychological load of that drill. So you have to adapt the drill. So yes, they need to do things, but you have to give them an activity that they can handle. And the challenge is not too much for them. It can be a little nudge, not a push, but just nudge them a little bit to do better. I hope I was clear, Fatuma. Thank you very much. I believe we have Aline, right?
Exactly. Aline, just present you and you can go ahead. Now you can unmute yourself.
Thank you. I'm Aline from Rwanda. I would like to ask about game time. My question is about game time. So during game time, some coaches keep repeating like defense, hands up to the players, or sometimes they call out a player name to mark their opponent. Is it a good thing to do during a game, especially most of the time players are dealing with game pressure?
Okay. Hi, Aline. Thank you very much for your question. Keywords are not only to be used during practice, they are also to be used during the game. And sometimes you may use these keywords during the game. For example, remind little Maria how to do the stance properly, how to play defense, for example, or how to pass the ball, etc. You may use these keywords. But then when it comes to managing, sometimes as a coach, you need to remind your players that we need to play defense.
Yeah.
So if it's done in an occasional base, then that's good. That's fine. But if it's done constantly, all the time, during the game, that means you did not work on it during practice. If you have to repeat something all the time during the match, that means that your players don't do it automatically, because practice makes perfect. You got to do it in practice. Whatever we want to do during the match, we have to do it during practice. Practice the same intensity as you would like your players to play the match. And that becomes somehow a natural thing for them to do, Ali. I hope all is clear, Ali.
Thank you so much for
my
the
pleasure.
answers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I believe that Bintu said that she is from Mali.
Yep.
So, nice to have you with us, Bintu. C'était un plaisir de vous avoir avec nous. We have another question that I'm going to read from Winnie. And I believe Winnie is from Rwanda. Yeah. Are there some videos uploaded on YouTube of you coaching that can help us understand more? Well, the IT team from FIBA Africa will be sharing some videos of or some YouTube videos of past conferences that will be very important for you to have access to, Winnie. And then if obviously you want some videos of me, obviously just Google my name and eventually you'll find, you might find a few things there. But obviously there are many other coaches as well out there that might be, that might have some videos for you to see and share. But what's important for Aline is that, sorry, Winnie, what's important is that whatever you see, whatever videos you see and you come across on YouTube, make sure that you just pick out whatever you can adapt to your environment, to your style, to your resources, to your players. Just don't pick up any drill and implement it immediately. Make sure it fits what you believe in. Thank you, Winnie. And we have Nicole.
Thank you, Coach. I think, Nicole, it was only a thumbs up. I think it's
all right. I'll give it a thumbs up as well.
Je profite pour dire à Bintu in French, on aura des formations la semaine prochaine en français, donc lundi et mardi, on vous enverra les liens. Et pour celles qui parlent français, elles pourront assister. Il y aura d'autres formations en anglais. Si vous ne parlez pas anglais, ce n'est pas utile de vous connecter. Ce sera les mêmes sujets.
All right. Perfect. So I think we got to our end today, Mikey. I think we had enough questions. I would like to end with this. My first question when we first started was, hello, Yaira. Okay, so hello. I hear some noise, Mikey. I don't know what's happening.
I'm trying to mute. Yeah, can you please cut your microphone?
Okay.
I think it's okay.
Yeah. So I was saying, my first question of the day today was, what have you done to become a better basketball coach? Those of you that are here, or everyone that is here, wants to be a successful basketball coach. Me too. I am as well. I keep learning. I keep wanting to become better. And every day I dedicate something, some time for one particular aspect of my coaching to improve. And I know that, you know, as a young coach, I made a lot more mistakes that I'm still making today. I'm still making a lot of mistakes today, but simply because I am trying to be better every day, I am for sure going to become a better coach. And that would be my strongest recommendation to all of you. So thank you very much, ladies, for being here. What a pleasure to see so many of you from Morocco, Rwanda, Mali, Tanzania.
Thank you.
And I look forward. I want to see you again soon. I want to see you sitting here sharing your knowledge in the near future with all of us. And I can only wish you the best. People from Zimbabwe as well. So thank you for being with us. And I look forward to more FIBA conferences in the near future. Please stay tuned. You will be receiving from the IT department the YouTube videos, as well as the next conferences that will be either in English or French. And I would strongly encourage you to participate in all of them. Bless you all. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your support, for the sharing knowledge. And thank you everyone for your question. It was very useful I think for everyone. So thanks a lot and see you soon, I hope. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.